Retail workers, what's the most absurd negotiation you've ever witnessed at the register? I was working a closing shift at a grocery store in a neighborhood that attracted what I can only describe as a very interesting cross-section of humanity. From college students buying instant ramen in bulk, to elderly couples who treated the deli counter like a high-stakes auction house. And it was about 10 minutes before closing on a Sunday night, when I was already dreaming of getting home and collapsing into bed, when a middle-aged man in a slightly wrinkled suit walked up to my register, holding a single banana and nothing else. He placed the banana on the conveyor belt with the kind of ceremonial gravity you'd normally associate with laying a wreath at a memorial. And then he looked at me and said, "How much?" And I scanned it and said, 39 cents. And he just stared at me like I had personally offended his ancestors, and said, "That seems high." And I blinked at him, because it was a single banana that cost less than most people's spare change. And I genuinely had no idea how to respond to a grown man in business attire, telling me that a piece of fruit that grew on a tree for free was being overpriced at less than half a dollar. He asked if I could do a price match, and I said we only price match advertised deals from competitors, not hypothetical banana prices from alternate dimensions. And he pulled out his phone and started frantically searching for banana prices at other stores, while I stood there holding his single banana and wondering how my life had arrived at this exact moment where I was being held hostage by a man who needed a price comparison spreadsheet to feel comfortable buying a snack. He found a listing from a store across town advertising bananas for 29 cents and demanded I match it, and I said fine, just to get him out of the store so I could go home. But then he said, "Actually, I think I can do better," and pulled up another listing and said, "This store has them for 2 for 50 cents. And I pointed out that 2 for 50 cents is actually more expensive than 1 for 39 cents, and he had to sit down on the little bench by the exit to process the math for a solid 5 minutes, while I just stood there at my register, starting seriously questioning every life choice that had won. Led me to retail, because I had spent 2 years in community college studying business, and I was now watching a man have an existential crisis over the economics of a fruit that was literally designed by nature to be cheap. He eventually decided that 39 cents was acceptable, but demanded that I throw in a free bag, because he felt the transaction was emotionally draining. And I handed him a plastic bag that costs us practically nothing, just to end this nightmare. And he walked out holding his single banana in the bag, like he had won the negotiation of the century, while I locked the doors behind him and stood in the silence of the empty store, wondering if I should update my resume, or just accept that I had peaked as a human being the moment I successfully convinced a grown man to pay 39 cents for a banana.